Hi, everybody. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and my gang is all here. Hello, Chris Paul. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm great. Happy MLK Day.
And to you and yours, Mr. Lowdown. How you doing?
Happy MLK Day, Sybil. There ought to be a law.
Oh, come on with the Stevie Wonder. Happy birthday.
Is that who it was?
That's who it was.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Sounded like Jaheim with strep throat.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
I thought he was making
Wow.
something up.
And
Wow.
hello to
That's
Coy
awful.
Malone. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Hey, everybody, and happy Martin Luther King Day.
Let us first of all ask you, how was your weekend? How was your day? And let's start with you, Coy. You usually have the most to contribute in terms of the latest adventures in adulting.
Yes, it's been an interesting weekend. First of all, we had snow here in Atlanta. That's a big event because that rarely happens. So the city was pretty much shut down, and I got the night off, which in theory it sounded great, but I was kind of bored out of my mind. I didn't know what to do with all of that time, so I did my best to get rest because
You didn't
I
go
have a
to the tree
very
house?
You could have gone to
no,
work. You could have gone to one of your
right.
9,000 other jobs.
Exactly. No, there was just a lot of different cancellations going on. And I live in the midst of a lot of the highways in Atlanta, and I just didn't want to risk it.
So you just risked being bored at home
Yes.
and resting. Okay, all right. So there is adulting 101. When you have time off, take it.
Definitely. And don't risk it if you can help it, even if you are, an expert driver or what have you, in snow
There is no
and
such
ice.
thing as an expert driver in a town where people don't know how to drive in it. That's
Exactly.
just been my
On top
experience.
of the snow, Sybil. On top of the snow.
Well, especially with the weather like
Right,
this, yeah.
right.
I mean, like
Yes.
if you come from a snowy, wintry wonderland on the regular, like I did in Chicago, and living in places where people are not accustomed to it. Hello, Texas. You don't want to be out there either, because those people that are out in it, they don't know how to drive in it.
Not at all. There were several accidents yesterday, which were
Oh yeah,
crazy.
and we will talk about the weather. How you doing, Chris Paul? How are you? What's going on?
Nothing but staying in the house, laying low. It's too damn cold outside here in the DMV. I mean, it's cold. We went down to see the MLK statue today. MLK statue was sitting inside a Starbucks.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, it's too damn cold out here.
They put them out. They put
I
them
know.
out, huh?
I mean, it's so cold here, Sybil.
How
Women,
cold?
women are actually accepting cups of hot chocolate from Bill Cosby.
Oh,
That's
that's
how
how cold
cold it is.
it is.
Dang.
MLK had a North Face jacket on the statue.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It is cold.
The Lincoln Memorial, Lincoln done got up out this chair out the memorial, brother. It's so cold.
So cold.
He said, "I got to put my
He
onesie
said,
on.
man,
Come
this is
on, let's warm
cool,
this
bro.
up a little bit." And
It's
how are
cold.
you, Mr. Lowdown? How you
Like
doing, hon?
like Chris said, it's cold and it's snowing here.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
we at that age where we can't fall, Sybil. We can't fall at this age.
Oh, no, 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 no.
No.
I, it used to be funny for a lot of people to watch people fall,
Right.
like on Instagram,
Until it's your turn.
until you get to that point, and you're like,
It's just
yeah.
We could break a hip at this age.
I know.
Ugh.
And you know you're old when you just lay there, bro, for 5 minutes. Like, I'm better than this.
Right.
I'm better than this, bro.
I'm riding this out
Right.
until
Just
everybody's gone.
just sitting there weeping.
Well, it is a lot of weather related madness going on, and so let's talk about that. Let's start out as we talk about the topicals, and the weather obviously was in the headlines for most of the weekend as people were preparing for the weather and then looking at it and saying, "What the heck? Tornadoes in Florida."
Right.
And then winter storm Izzy packing a pallet, packing a wallop all up and down the East Coast.
Mm.
Easy for me to say. They say areas of Ohio got the most snowfall, more than 2 feet reported in Ashtabula on Lake Erie. And that is just fun to say. Grand Island, New York, just north of Buffalo, got 22 inches, so they missed it by that much,
What?
according to the National Weather Service. And 20 inches were also reported in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So the heavy snowfall on the King holiday weekend followed then by power outages, major road closures, and flight cancellations across the Southeast. Air travel still snarled by the wintry conditions, with more than 1,600 flights canceled on Monday. With more flights canceled after nearly 3,000 U.S. flights were canceled Sunday. 3,000 on Sunday.
Nice.
And then by late Monday afternoon, 70,000 customers were still without power from Georgia to West Virginia. And in as many states earlier, as many states as 11, there were 217,000, over 200,000 customers without power in 11 states.
Mm,
That's
insane.
It really is.
That's Mother Nature telling us something.
So, not too long ago, we had the situation in Virginia where people were stuck in their
Oh
cars
yeah, Glenn Youngkin.
for a day.
Oh, I thought
You blame that on Youngkin?
You blame the new governor.
Oh, he's a piece of work, bro.
I know.
Yeah, he started work early, didn't he, Chris?
He did. First day.
First day, he comes out and says there will be no teaching of critical race theory in our schools.
And you don't have to wear a mask.
And you don't have to wear a
no mask. So you can go about spewing all of your nonsense and germs.
Right. That's the Republican. That's how the Republicans lead these days, just by spewing ignorance. Even though they don't practice what they preach.
Nope,
you better believe he's triple vaxxed and always wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And he looks like he fits the description, bro.
Right.
He looks the part, bro.
Yeah, vest and all.
He looks the part.
Snow vest and all. But if that's not ridiculous enough, what about your boy, the former president, or 45 as people call him, who went out to a rally on Saturday night in Arizona and told all of the folks, including all of those sitting behind him with their t-shirts, Blacks for Trump, saying that Black folks are getting all of the drugs to fight COVID and white folks aren't getting anything.
I was looking at the Black for Trump people behind them, Sybil. That looked like a "Want to Get Away" commercial. I'm like, do they turn the shirts in afterwards, after the rally?
Yeah, who wears that?
Are they traveling blacks? Do he travel with these same Black people?
Yeah, they're behind him every speech. They're behind him wearing those t-shirts.
Ones.
I mean, they are.
Do they
talking
turn the
about
shirts in?
Well, they have new shirts now. Remember, they were red, if I'm not mistaken, Chris, during the last.
It's got the website on the front.
Yeah.
Like blacksfortrump.com.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about human beings allowing themselves to be product placement.
Right.
For Donald Trump. That's all they are.
Yeah.
Black faces for races.com.
I like that one. Yeah, so my question though is, do any people who are watching or listening, do you know these people by any chance? Are there people in your family that are a part of the Blacks for Trump traveling party or traveling circus?
Who's the recruiter, Sybil?
and then there's that. I mean, maybe it's Candace Owens. Maybe it's, I don't know. But
Clarence Thomas' wife.
Right.
But the crazy thing is, it makes Trump supporters look equal opportunity, and it makes Black folks sound racist. Because when white Trump people watch it, they go, "Look at that! You got Blacks for Trump." Right. And we sound racist because we're saying, "Look at these niggas."
Right.
We're the racists.
Well, let us be, bro.
Who's the real racist?
Yeah, who's the real racist here? Right. The N-word is in our home.
That shirt is racist.
We gave you shirts and everything. What more do you people want?
Bro.
So it was a big weekend for Republicans, not only with Donald Trump, as I mentioned, in Arizona. He's given up telling people that he's vaccinated because he doesn't want to get booed. So this is his new thing.
Never one of them Negroes will get an invite to Mar-a-Lago. You better believe that.
Okay.
None of them BFTs.
Okay. And what about Winsome Sears? Is anybody concerned about
You
the
know what's
state
so
of
crazy, Sybil?
what?
She
This
said
is the new lieutenant governor of
lieutenant
Virginia.
governor for Virginia, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
She just tweeted something about MLK, and I was about to retweet, and I saw who said it, and I said, "No!"
Take his name
I
out
did
your
like,
tweet.
no. Mm-mm.
Oh, Huggy, was she?
Enough with the cinematics. What I'm trying to cinematics.
Oh, cinematics,
Cinematics.
a la Kirsten Cinema.
Yeah.
And we're in a
Right.
bad place because as bad as Youngkin and this Winnie chick are, they're replacing Governor Blackface and Lieutenant Governor Groper.
Right.
It's
So
just
do
bad in Virginia.
we want the black and groper, or we want
The blackface
Face
groper.
It's just a bad look here in Virginia, really.
VA
Man,
is for something else now, bro. What y'all doing, bro?
what are you doing there? What's going on in the water, in the air there in Virginia?
Our slogan used to be Virginia's for lovers.
Right.
Now we're just a bunch of jack-offs.
The neighboring state had some of the worst statistics in terms of education and poverty, so that might be a part of it. Might be bleeding over the state lines at this point.
Well, I mean, you want to? Are we talking Mississippi? Because that's not a neighboring state, but there are a lot of states that are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, we're the top 5 of the worst in terms of living conditions, in terms of education, in terms of the economy. We can go on. How many states now are feeling the effects, if not the entire country, because of the economy?
Yeah, this has been an issue ongoing with West Virginia for quite some time.
Well, West Virginia, yeah, and you're talking about being close to Virginia and what the worst things are, but still, they elect I was going to say a very nasty word regarding the current senator from that state, who is the biggest headache for the Democrats right now.
So you can't say mother.
It doesn't come trippingly off my tongue the way it does yours, Hug. But
That makes a cool shirt. The biggest headache for the Democrats right now.
yeah, well, and well, actually, I'd have it on the back with an arrow pointing to my butt, because he's a pain for us in a number of places, but definitely for the Democrats, he is a major headache, and it's not going to get any easier as they go to work tomorrow, and Schumer is planning to call a vote on the 2 voting rights bills, as well as the effort to get rid of the filibuster. And that's just going to be a very sad day for a lot of people, especially right-thinking people who are still seeking to get their voting rights back.
Right.
I don't know, Chris. I don't know what you say to that, except you kind of shake your head and say, "Well, here we are." But the question is, and something that I write about in the What You Need to Know newsletter for tomorrow, is that we know it's going to fail, as Jim Clyburn pointed out. But what's the next? Where do you go after this? Do you just say, "Oh well, we'll circle back and get to that later," or do we just keep fighting and hopefully get something done before the midterms?
Right. What's plan B? What's plan B?
What do you think?
Because this isn't about the Voting Rights Act for Manchin or Sinema.
No.
This is about their power. I mean, you get rid of the filibuster, they no longer have the power they have to hold an entire party hostage.
Right.
I mean, and the way that people in our party are being too friendly with them. I mean, it's time to go hard with them.
They've been playing softball for a long time, bro.
Are they scared?
Maybe they probably figure you're not going to get anything accomplished if we call them MFs. If we take it to them every single day. I mean, some of them do. AOC and her crew, they'll say whatever.
Yeah.
But everybody else like Joe Biden still talks about, working across the aisle and
they're in a bipartisan state of mind, so where the Republicans, they don't think like that.
No, they don't. And you're talking about
stand behind theirs.
They stand behind theirs, however ignorant it may be. They stand together. And somebody tweeted out the other day, "Hey Joe, quit working like you're still in the Senate."
Right.
You know, you are in the highest office
Right.
in the world. What
Right.
are you doing?
Right.
Stop trying to reach across and just, if you're going to reach across, slap somebody and say, let's get to it. Come
Right.
on.
Yeah.
Right.
No
Let's
bull.
do LBJ. Let's do
Right.
something in order to get this done.
Put the put the put the put the pinky ring on, Joe. Start backhand slapping people.
I don't know, Coy, and from your perspective, I mean, you know, all of this stuff that we're talking about that happened before you were even born, in terms of you talking to your friends and what they think should be next. Excuse me, what they think should be next. What's the conversation?
The conversations that I'm seeing, it's so irritating. I'm seeing this on Instagram, mostly on social media, with people that are misinformed about the political process and what's to come. And the running joke that I'm seeing now is everybody saying, you know, we had a better time with the previous president and that we should have never voted for, you know, Joe Biden. And I'm just like, hey, listen, you all need to understand how politics work, how the president works, but also understand that just because you see something that is going on now that you don't agree with does not mean to go and jump towards the other side and thinking that that's going to work out better for you.
All right.
That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of miseducation.
And I think that's true. I think there is some miseducation in there, as well as misinterpretation of what we can do, even among those very practiced and old time politicians. This was a horrible situation that happened over the weekend, in which a British man who had just come to the country over the last 2 weeks. He was identified as 44-year-old Malik Faisal Akram, knocked on the glass door of a synagogue in Colleyville, Texas, which is just a few miles from where
Right.
I am,
Right.
and went into the synagogue. The rabbi said he let him in, made him tea, and didn't find anything suspicious. However, it was during the Sabbath prayer that the rabbi had his back turned and he and other worshipers faced Jerusalem, and he heard a click, and it turned out it was this man's gun,
Mm.
holding at least three parishioners and the rabbi hostage for well over 9, 10 hours, 11 hours, I believe. And they were released 9 o'clock Saturday night. The security.
Actually, Sybil, I saw the rabbi talking. He said they weren't released. They said they
They
stated accurate-
escaped.
They escaped. He
They
said, yeah.
escaped.
I saw
He
the
said
video.
there were two people. There were
Yeah.
two other people left besides him because they let somebody go. And he asked the other two gentlemen, "Are you guys ready to leave?" And they said, "Yeah." So he threw a chair at the gunman, and
Right.
told the other two ran out the door, and then the rabbi followed them.
And that's what I was going to say. They initially said that they were released, Chris, and the rabbi said that he has taken security courses focusing on this type of situation and taught him he needed to get himself and his people to safety. And there was the moment during the negotiations in which he was not getting what he wanted. He said it didn't look good, it didn't sound good, we were terrified, and he decided to take the chance on escaping.
Wow.
The
And
rabbi
so
went Bruce Willis on him.
yeah,
It was Die Hard Shalom.
Yeah.
He said, when I saw an opportunity, when he wasn't in a good position, I made sure that the other two gentlemen still with me, they were ready to go.
Yeah.
The exit wasn't too far away. He said, I told them to go. I threw the chair and I headed for the door, and we were able to get out without a shot being fired.
He's a hero.
And
Yeah,
he
he's
is a hero. And it's
Yeah.
also, the FBI is warning all houses of worship, doesn't matter what the religion is,
Yeah.
to
That
be
could
very
have ended
careful.
so badly.
And it
That's like
has.
Dylan Roofish.
Right.
And it
You know,
has ended
They
badly. Remember
offered
the
him
synagogue
something to
just
drink.
a few years ago? What was it,
Right.
in Pittsburgh, where the
Right.
people were killed
Yeah.
there?
Right.
And this man was trying to seek the release of a woman
Of his
being held in
sister. I
prison.
believe his sister.
Yeah, in Fort Worth. So
At what point do they start having armed guards inside of places of worship?
yeah. And I know churches that do have off-duty policemen
wow.
there in the houses and churches of worship, but I'm not sure when they're going to have them, without the, in uniform and without plain clothes to be in there, because it's headed that way.
Or people that's packing themselves.
Absolutely. You see a lot of churches in
Talking
Texas.
about Baptist churches?
They talking about AME.
I'm not going to get into it, but yeah.
I mean, they're not bringing guns into church in black churches, but let them run to the car real quick.
No, they just.
And a lot of
they just spitting in their hands.
Oh my gosh,
that's disgusting, bro. I couldn't even watch that video, bro.
That's a horrible story too.
I don't even know the rest
Talking
of the
about
story.
the minister
I just
that
saw
was
that
seen
part.
on
like,
video. He was part of his sermon. He spit in his hand and rubbed it on his brother's face, and there's a lot of discussion about that. All right, so now it's time for what's really going
Overflow
on.
have a whole new meaning.
It's time for what's really going on, and this is regarding something that I heard at the service that was held today for members of the families that were killed in the Philadelphia townhouse fire, killed 3 adults and 9 children. And one of the family members spoke saying, if you have some I'm sorry's to say them. If you've got some forgiveness to do, forgive. And so the question for everybody watching and listening today, with whom do you need to get right? Or do you think someone needs to get right with you? If there's some forgiveness to be done, if there's some I'm sorries that need to be made, who amongst us has those opportunities? And not only when we're talking about, horrific occasions where people die in the fires or whatever, but just recently, I'm not talking Betty White obviously at 99, but Bob Saget at 65, has a great set, comes back to his hotel, lays down, and he dies. Right. And this isn't uncommon. But it's always those times where, we better get right. But so who would like to get some forgiveness, would like to extend some forgiveness? And Huggy, let's start with you.
Maybe that lady I cussed out at AT&T the other day.
Okay, all right. So what was that story that the woman? What did she do to cause a cussing out?
I don't even want to talk about that shit. So. Oh,
it really got to you. Okay, can you give us an idea?
No, so in actuality, no. I would probably have to go dig up a grave, Sybil, to get somebody to, apologize.
Oh, okay. So we're talking your real daddy.
Oh, see, I wasn't gonna say his name, Sybil, but thank you. I hope my sister's not watching.
Well, okay, either that or the AT&T lady. What happened?
I don't want to talk about it. Go to Chris.
He's choked up there, Chris. Yeah. Coy, what about you? Coy, you have anybody that you would like to say I'm sorry or actually to ask forgiveness from?
I don't think
all
so.
of us are so perfect. We don't have anybody.
No, that's not.
No, I'm not by far not perfect. I just, when I recognize that I make a mistake or somebody points them out to me, I take it into consideration and I apologize. I try not to sit on it. I'll talk about how I feel. And when I feel like I'm wrong, I say something about it, then and there or within reasonable time. And for those that I haven't spoken to, like in person, I forgive them, within myself. After a considerable amount of time. I let it go and I move on. That's something that I have learned long ago, not to harp on because things can happen.
How did you learn that? When did that come to you, that the importance of, let's close this out and move on?
It's something I've always heard, and I didn't see it come into play until I would say maybe in high school. There was a young lady. She used to pick on me like when I was a freshman. I don't know why. She used to just do it. I guess she thought it was funny. I didn't think it was funny at all.
Were you both freshmen?
Yeah, we were in the same class.
Okay.
And I
just
didn't like her.
Was she a big girl?
No, she was just kind of tall, but not big or
was
anything.
Was she a skinny little girl like you are? Like you could take her?
Small, but not like I was tiny. So everybody picked on me because of that. So we ended up in the same class in senior year. And I told her, you used to pick on me. I didn't like that. And she was like, well, I was just joking. It really wasn't trying to make you feel bad. And she apologized. I forgave her. And we got along very well throughout the year. And then it turns out later on in that year, she started having health issues and she found out she had cancer in her stomach. She went and got surgery. She came back to school. She was fine. went back out of school, and then she had passed. That's the first
Hmm.
person I'd seen that I've known that was familiar with within my age group that passed, and that felt it affected me really bad,
Sure.
and it took years for me to get over. But I was very happy and glad and thankful that we were able to have a conversation and clear the air, even if it was something small and she thought it was joking and I didn't take it that way. I'm glad we were able to clear the air of that.
Wow.
Wow.
That's really
Mm.
that's profound that you knew that at that point, to clear the air. Because I mean, you could have finished the rest of senior year, unfortunately, with what the circumstances that happened, but you could have said, just let's just keep it moving, and I
And
don't
my
need to say
grown ass
anything.
over here, shallow howler. She hit us with a
as
a
a as a
tear jerker like
kid.
that. So I need to get my life together.
Yeah, it was awful. Her name was Jennifer.
Wow.
Oh, God
Wow.
bless Jennifer, but God
Yeah.
bless you for having the maturity and presence of mind to make that happen and to initiate that conversation.
At that age. So you were
Right.
adulting a long time ago, whether
You
you
were
knew
Yeah.
it.
adulting. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Chris Paul, what about you? Oh, hang on one second. Joy Route on YouTube says somebody needs to get right with me. I've said sorry. Now it's their turn. Okay, now it's good. All
Who?
right, Joyce.
Who,
Who is it?
Joy?
Z Walker on
Ooh.
Facebook said my daughter's father. We don't even
Sound like
call him
sound
baby
like he
daddy.
been missing a couple of payments.
And Deborah Clark Fairfax on YouTube says, I don't need to get right with nobody. I'm cool with everybody.
Everybody.
A few need to get right with me. Okay, y'all want to name names? Okay, or why does your daughter's father need to get right with you? Or who are those people who need to get right
Not
with
giving
you,
us no
Deborah?
details.
I know. Well, they're typing fast and they just want to get in, and I appreciate that. Now I'm gonna need a little bit more detail
Right.
to go with that. Anthony Sanders on Facebook says, every time I forgive my late father, I find out something else about him. Whoa.
I like he meet a new brother or sister at the
That
family
could be.
reunion.
That could be. Or somebody said your daddy owed me money and he said to talk to you.
Hey, was Papa a Rolling Stone or what?
Well, I mean, who amongst us doesn't know somebody like that?
Right.
I'm just saying. I didn't say that we're related to him. I said who amongst us doesn't know someone like that, Chris Paul, what about you? Anybody you want to get right with? Anybody you need to apologize to besides your wife? Because you should be apologizing to her every
I mean,
day.
it would start. It would start in my home. I would always want the forgiveness of my wife for countless stupid things that I've done over the years. Countless, too many to count. And I would also want forgiveness from even people who don't realize that I would want their forgiveness, like my children. They'll keep telling me, giving me cards and gifts, saying I'm the greatest dad. But I can look back at my life with being a parent and know that I could have been a better father. Oftentimes, other times I put work ahead of them, and I would want them to forgive me for that, even though they won't say anything about it. But I recognize. I mean, you have to be able to. As a sports fan, it's like you have to be able to go back and look at the tape. They have to after every game. Like I'm sure the Cowboys after yesterday's loss, they're like, we got to look at the tape to see what happened. You have to do that with your own life, though. You have to be able on a daily basis. Every night when you lay in bed, you should be able to go to the tape and watch your day and see where you dropped the ball, see where you could have been better, and then also give yourself love on those plays where you did score during the day.
For not being a Cowboy fan.
Right. And the reason I say daily is because there's just too much tape to watch at the end of the day. On your deathbed, that's just too much tape.
Yeah, that's and who's got that kind of time?
Right.
But Chris, I think that's a fascinating concept for a movie or a TV show, that people are able to reassess and to make those adjustments to their lives on the regular, as opposed to waiting till the very end or before it's too late.
Something like Flatliners.
Flatliners, yeah.
Remember Flatliners?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and that's a concept that I think we, is like,
Good concept.
we'll
Call
keep
it
moving.
Flatliners. I just messed the joke up. I'm sorry.
Bro, you need a little more Kahlua in that cup.
I don't know what's in that cup, but it's
Going down fast.
Every sip, he gets more outlandish.
For those that are just listening to us, and now he's chair dancing. Huggy Lowdown started out with a full mug of some sort of coffee beverage, and now he's taking bigger and quicker swigs of it. And as Chris said, his behavior is changing as he swigs.
Coffee with liquor in it. He's wide awake and drunk.
Like a madman.
So there you have. And now he brings out his life-size.
Oh, you
flask.
brought up the small one.
Yeah.
The travel size.
His travel size, yeah, the 3 ounce that he can get on the plane. Not.
My carry-on. Spirit Airline charged me $50 for bringing this on flight.
Yeah.
I want to thank people for being so open to the idea of sharing.
To working today, Sybil, to making us work on MLK Day.
Oh.
Is that what, you talking about something now?
She's asking for forgiveness right now.
Oh, I'm
brother.
sorry, Sybil. Go ahead.
I have always worked on Dr. King's birthday. I've never had a day off. And of course, with
this message
on the Joyner show, that was it.
Dr. King wanted you to be free. You know that, don't you?
He wanted us to be free, but he also wanted us to continue the work that he has done, right, in order to bring about a country that's free and not held captive by a diabolical party or a couple of people within your own congregation that are working to keep you from being free. And yeah,
Speaking of the Joyner show, Tom,
Yeah.
we forgive you for going off the air. No, we don't.
I don't.
No, we don't.
I'm still trying to get over it.
No, and there are people right now yelling, "Get over it! Get over it!" No, no.
Speak for yourself.
No, and I think we speak for a lot of people that still miss the show. So yeah, thank you. Yes,
Tom,
could have been in the studio right now.
I FaceTime. Michael. Michael.
Oh, Michael
What's up,
Stallworth.
Mike?
All right, okay. Big Mike on Facebook says, "While I understand the importance of forgiveness, I'm unsure if I would be willing to do so for someone nameless who I haven't heard from in almost 2 years. Didn't have to lead me on." Oh my!
Sound like Mike got catfished.
Mike, do you
Mike,
wanna...
stay the hell off OnlyFans, Mike.
And lover scorned.
And Mike, I'm not sure what that means, but if you want to be a little bit more
Didn't
specific.
have to leave
me on. I was thinking about that song too.
That's awful. Mike,
Hey, if
Mike
y'all
is a good dude.
if y'all are gonna post your situations live on Sybil's show, you got to have the balls to call the people out.
No,
What's
no
her name?
pun
What's her
intended.
name, Michael?
No pun intended.
Michael, what's her name? What's her name so we can roast her?
Oh, we need to do a segment and have her on the show and find out why.
Right.
No, y'all have gone off script, Sybil.
Huggy, maybe you know more about this situation than the rest of us do, because I'm curious who Michael is talking about too. But
We all are.
Hey,
This has Mercury retrograde energy all over it, y'all. Let's get out of the past.
we started it, Sybil, but go ahead and change that logo to Jerry Springer. It's on.
Still carrying a torch, Michael Stallworth. Manuel Murphy asked on Facebook. All right, Michael, you want to respond to that? You got a couple of more seconds to do that. I do. Coy has mentioned a couple of times about Mercury being in retrograde, and that's real, isn't it, Coy?
Yes, it's a real thing. It affects communications. You have glitches in technology, delays in transportation, and you also have old friendships and exes that try to pop up and make their way into your life. Don't.
Michael Stallworth, did you hear that? You got some people trying to, make their way back in. It sounds like what you're looking for
Mike
right
said
there.
2
When the thought
years.
pops up.
So
2
he's
years.
still going through
Buggy,
it.
go ahead and pass Michael Stallworth your flask. Pass it on. Pass it on down to let him get it.
Don't forget to mix it with coffee.
Sometimes you just got to take it straight to the head.
Pour some down to the comments.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Or somewhere.
I said pour some down in the comments section for Michael.
In the comments.
Right. That's how I got.
Scoot over, everybody.
He about to pour it on his keyboard.
I know that's a. Sound like love after lockup.
Lockup.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
Maurice Rouse says on Facebook. That's what he says. Sounds like love
Well,
after lockup.
we know what's going on in Rouse house. Love after lockup.
Rouse house.
You keep all that role playing at home, Rouse.
All right. Well, thank you all for sharing. And Michael, if you want to continue to share, we look forward to your comments. If you'd like to clear up any of the mystery there.
Therapists are standing by.
If you or a guest would like to clear the air live.
Hey, Yogi, write Michael up a quick jewel for later on in the show. Give Michael a quick jewel.
And you can't use profanity in the jewels.
Damn it.
Yogi's jewel of the day. Get over it, Negro.
That would not be in the Yogi jewel that would be in the Chris Paul jewel.
Oh, okay.
It's been 2 years, damn it.
Let's
Give
move.
him a pinky ring.
Let's move to the What You Need to Know newsletter. And it's time to take a look at our newsletter today. If you would like to subscribe to it, please go to SybilWilkes.com. It is free. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. We took a different tactic on this holiday, on the King holiday, and talking about Dr. King. What really kind of shook me, you guys, in working with young people like Coy here and Quinn, as well as Cameron, how young they are in a lot of respects. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And so I had an idea in order to talk about Dr. King, but some things that they may not have known and that other people may have known or forgotten about or may not have known either. And so we looked at different aspects of Dr. King as well as the holiday and used that as the theme for today's newsletter. Every young person, with the exception, was born after Dr. King was assassinated. And in some cases, they were born after his birthday became a national holiday.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that. All of that happens is the result of their learning it in school from families and what have you, but not having known of Dr. King in a, seeing him on the nightly news, for instance, as I did as a little kid, growing up. So and remembering, and even at my young age, remembering that night that he was assassinated.
Wow.
And being fearful as to what was going to happen.
What did that felt like? What did that feel like? It was,
well, first of all, I was sad because my mother could not stop crying.
Mm.
And the phone was ringing, and a lot of conversations and a lot of just real sadness being shared with my mother and family members and friends. And the other part was seeing our towns, our cities around the country being set on fire.
Mm.
Because that's how angry people were as to the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King on April 4th, 1968. Mm. And then going to school the next day and seeing the effects of the fires on the south side of Chicago, of people burning down businesses or setting businesses.
And you went to school the next day?
Oh, my mother made sure we were going to school the next day. Yeah.
Wow. And how was that?
And here's the other thing. We had a teacher who was very, very fair, like near white, bright Black woman. And we were fearful about her going back and forth to school because we thought she might be attacked because she was a white person. Wow. Working in a school in a Black neighborhood. And so all of these things go through your very young mind. And so that was something that I experienced. But then working with these people, Cam and Coy and Quinn, and how all of their experiences are through books and movies and TV shows and what have you. So it's really very interesting. So that's what I proposed to them, that we do this issue on Dr. King and some various things. So Coy, I don't know if you feel like you drew the short straw or not, Coy. That's me making a noise. I spilled my cup full of pens.
Could be coffee.
But Coy, talk about your story and the events honoring Dr. King?
Well, here in Atlanta, where Dr. King was born and raised in the old Fourth Ward section of the city, there's a lot of different events that go on, including the annual service at Ebenezer Baptist Church. There's an annual lecture at Morehouse College, where he graduated from. There's also a day of volunteer service. There's a 5K run. You also get admission to national parks, including the Martin Luther King National Park. And then there's also a performance by the Alvin Ailey Company that went on this year, and a lot of other panel discussions and lectures, which I think is interesting. But I feel like the city of Atlanta itself could do way more in terms of a celebration for the person that gave his life for equality, that whose life purpose was to make sure that we have some form of civil rights. Like, for instance, for me personally, and I could be wrong, but this is just from what I remember after moving to Atlanta and growing up here. I do not remember seeing an MLK parade until I went to college in Jackson, Mississippi, and marched in one when I was a member of the Sonic Boom. That's the first time I remember seeing one when I was 19. We don't have any festivals. Like, I feel like there could be a citywide festival that is educational and talks about, you know, civil rights and equality, as much as we're fighting to teach Black history, and we're fighting against critical race theory, and we're fighting against people that want to erase what happened with the civil rights, which was not even 100 years ago as of yet. Why don't we have something like this that is accessible to all in Atlanta? And then we still have people that are still going to work on a day like this. Not you, Sybil. We're not talking about this because this is necessary. People need to hear what we're saying today.
Mhm.
But the city is still wide open. Why aren't we shut down like it was on Christmas? Why don't we have national televised events that are as big as, New Year's Rocking Eve or the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? I just feel like we could be celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King's life and legacy a lot better, especially within his hometown. And I just don't see it.
And I don't think you're alone. I'm wondering if people think that the coronavirus and staying masked and still quarantined to a certain
Mhm.
extent, that people feel that that's necessary. But you're saying even before the pandemic hit, that this was something that people should have been doing, especially in his hometown. I know that in Dallas and in Fort Worth, there were the King Day celebrations, parades, and what have you, but not as of now because of the coronavirus. Miami was one that had an incredible parade that the Joyner Show went, and Tom, of course, Grandmaster and things like that. But it does beg the question, in his hometown, what more could be done?
We need to be shut down like Christmas. That's how
Yeah.
I feel like it should have
Yeah, I
always
think you
been.
made an interesting comparison too. You
Yeah.
like, Macy's Day Parade, great, but why not have a national parade,
Right.
honoring Dr. King? And why
We don't
not?
even have fireworks for him. And they do a fireworks laser light show almost every night at Stone Mountain commemorating Confederate soldiers.
Hmm.
Stone
Hmm.
Mountain.
Yes.
Hmm. What do you think, Chris Paul?
I mean, unfortunately, the Martin Luther King holiday is starting to follow suit with the George Washington holiday, where it's being used just to monetize it. Like, there are people who have MLK Day sales. There are, Huggy, there are MLK MLK weekend comedy shows. It's more.
And not to mention the blasphemous promoters. Some people promote their shows with MLK face on
Right.
a flyer promoting something, which is
Yeah.
blasphemous.
Right. It's no longer a celebration of the man and the
Right.
dream
And the
and
message.
his life. It's actually just a celebration of having a day off.
Right.
Mhm.
So we're gonna throw this party on a Sunday night because y'all don't have to work on Monday, or
Right.
we're gonna do this comedy
Right.
show on Sunday night. I mean, so that's where it's become. I mean, we're talking about y'all treating this man the same way y'all treat George Washington, and George Washington was a damn slave owner who shouldn't even have
Mm.
we shouldn't even have a George Washington
So basically,
holiday.
it's a party
Okay.
with no purpose.
Right.
Oh, hello.
I feel like there should be like a concert with Black artists and Black conscious artists. Like, definitely Stevie Wonder should be there because his Happy Birthday song was used to popularize making MLK's birthday a federal holiday. And that's something that I just learned and never learned this in school. And I feel like this should be public knowledge, and it should definitely be raised on a public platform.
Have a
But
telethon.
right. Oh,
Yeah.
where is it?
Yeah. Here's something that we tried to do in having this discussion and exploring different areas of Dr. King's life. And one of the things that, as I said, Coy took on the task of, we're not doing anywhere near enough to honor this man on the day that was created for him to be honored, to be celebrated. And talking about Stevie Wonder, that was one of the things that I talked about in my story, Coy and Chris and Huggy, was about how Stevie Wonder had this dream about this song and used the Happy Birthday song as the impetus to get more people on board, especially entertainers. And so they
Right.
had a months-long tour gathering steam and people in order to make this a national holiday. From 1968, 4 days after Dr. King was murdered, and John Conyers stood on the the floor of the United States House and vowed to make this a national holiday. 4 days after, and it took 15 years for it to be signed, and another 3 years before it began in earnest. And so these are the things that we talk about in this, and every year John Conyers and others would get on the floor and would raise the resolution, and it didn't happen. Finally it did. But it took a coalition of forces. It was the entertainment, it was political, it was the civil rights organizations, and what have you.
Would you say that Stevie Wonder's song, is it possible it is the most powerful song in our history, in our nation's history? Like, can you think of another song that moved legislation?
Right.
When I say moves power, we're talking about the power to move a government in a country that we all know is so incredibly racist,
Mm-hmm.
and brought forth the MLK holiday.
And that's what Mrs. King, she was doubtful in the beginning, to think that this song could do it. But as she saw the groundswell and people getting on board, as well as the political empowerment and bringing Stevie Wonder at each of those concert stops, they would have a petition. And they had a petition they presented to Tip O'Neill with 6 million signatures.
Mm.
And that got Tip O'Neill, who was then the Speaker of the House, on board. And eventually it all came to pass, so that even as the vote came down in the Senate, even Strom Thurmond voted in favor of making this a national holiday. One of the greatest segregationists that the world has ever known. Now, there are others who did not do so much. One of the other things I did want to mention is that Cam Townsend did Cam Ronnie, I'm sorry, did a great story about a young Martin Luther King and things that we didn't know about him, like what a pool shark he was, how he smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day, how he was, he was a regular guy.
Right.
And he was, he wasn't one of those dudes who set out, I'm going to be a civil rights pioneer. Right. He was a regular dude and could just as easily have gotten your girl from you, Chris or Huggy, if he was one of your contemporaries, because that was the kind of dude he was. But everything came very early to him, starting Morehouse at 15.
Wow.
Another fact people don't know, MLK hated the Dallas Cowboys.
I heard that.
And he liked a good vodka tonic. My kind of guy.
I had a team.
And one other article I do want to, 2 others I do want to mention. First of all, in our coronavirus section, we always talk about health. And following Cam's story about Dr. King, we also have his fight for health and justice as it continues today in the 1960s when he was talking about the health challenges in Chicago, spotlighting the inequalities that posed a moral problem present that still persist even today. And Quinn Townsend Riley, who is our LGBTQ writer, she talked about Bayard Rustin, the organizer and friend to Dr. King, who was behind the 1963 March on Washington. But as a homosexual, things weren't as out and open as they are today. But he came out and presented himself as a Black homosexual, and until his death in 1987, talked about the necessity of presenting himself as who he was, and what a part he played in history as well. So I think it's a really great set of articles, and I'm very proud of the work that you all did, Coy, and I hope people will take a look at the What You Need to Know newsletter today. And honoring Dr. King, and take that as the impetus for us to do greater things in order to keep his dream alive and to bring fruition to his dreams as well.
Question: Any of your viewers right now who aren't subscribed to the newsletter, if they subscribe now, would they get today's?
That's a good
newsletter?
question. That's a good question. We can get it to you. I'm sure if you do, and I love that, Chris. Thank you. I don't know if we can get it to you today or today's newsletter, but absolutely, we'll get it to you. We'll make that a part of the bonus
Right.
subscription.
So if you're not subscribed, do it. How do you do it again now, Sybil? How do you subscribe?
Thank you, Chris. Go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box in first thing every morning, Monday through Friday.
All right.
Just that
And I think
simple.
if you go to the website sybilwilkes.com/news, it will display all of today's
You'll get
articles.
today's. And Coy, so thank you. And I'm not sure if they stay up for more than the day that they are a part of it.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, cool.
you gotta
And
scroll
also
through at the bottom.
and we also run them on SybilWilkes.com. So thank you for that. So that's why we have young people. That's what they keep telling me. That's why you have young people. Let's move to entertainment, you guys. And this is really interesting to me. This is regarding the settlement of the estate of Prince, the iconic musician. Everything in his world at the time of his death is, you would think, was worth a lot, right? At least according to Uncle Sam, the federal government, and they finally settled on a price tag. The IRS has come to terms with the administrator of his estate, Comerica Bank and Trust, after years of fighting about exactly is his assets and how they should be valued, and they've come to a figure at $156.4 million.
Mm.
So I text my friends, including Stephen Hill and a brilliant legal mind of Ward White IV. I thought that was a little low.
Does that doesn't include his catalog?
Well, the thing is, it's a lot more than they initially valued his estate to be worth. His estate, so not necessarily his catalog, yes, Huggy, but
right.
still his estate. I think, and because there's so much in there that may not be in the catalog as of right now.
Right.
They had the estate to be worth $82.3 million. The IRS pushed back on that, and they said it had to be priced north of $160 million. In the end, it appears they were correct in their estimation, and so they settled on 156. And a part of the agreement, the IRS has dropped its request for $6.5 million accuracy penalty. Once the taxes are paid, the rest of the money can be divided amongst the remaining parties of interest. And that was the other thing. He did not have a will.
How many parties of interest?
There are a number, even some that have started the initial investigation into as members of his family who are no longer with us.
Mm.
So, because remember, at the time of his death, there were half sisters and brothers and cousins and people who were like brothers, and there was a lot of question who exactly was related and things like that. So
why can't they just let my uncle rest in peace?
Prince Paul.
Should have just split it between Morris Day and Apollonia 6.
Did you say Apollonia 6?
Yeah, what was her name? Apollonia, what was her name?
It was Apollonia.
Apollonia
What's the
6.
name of the group?
That's the band.
Yeah.
Coy, that may be one of the funniest things I've ever heard you say. and Morris Day is saying yes.
Right.
Was they giving him his phone number?
Okay,
777.
9311. Call me. One more thing we want to talk about is Prince's estate. So that's a part of entertainment today. All right, let's move to our favorite part of the day, at least as far as the singing portion of our show is concerned. And now it's time for Huggy. I thought he was going to.
Yogi's Juice. Brought to you by whatever was in this cup.
Yogi's Jewel today is a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on this day. Everybody can be great because everybody can serve. All of us are capable of that. We continue to serve up information and humor every day, and we appreciate your joining us, you guys. We missed you last week, Chris Paul. We're glad you're back, and Huggy and Coy held things down for you, and we look forward to talking to you all again real soon. Happy King
Everybody
Day.
can serve except Novak, the tennis player. Silver. Everybody can serve except him.
And if you want to know what's in Huggy's cup, just know that Tiffany Haddish had too many of them.
Oh.
And Chris, we must talk about
Too
that.
soon.
All
She
right.
ready. She ready.
Too
Ready.
As soon as she takes this nap on the off ramp.
soon, Chris. Too soon.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. Go out there and continue the day on, not a day off.
How about them Cowboys?